Dear students, this is Tulika Banerjee from Forensic Science Unit, SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi, presenting this module on behalf of Ritu Sharma, Assistant Professor, Sachi University of Buddhist Indic Studies, Bhopal. I am delighted to present this lecture on religion, belief, elements and function, which is taught in BA second semester. Before we start our chapter with the introduction of religion, let's look at the other modules we will study in this chapter. First is religion in India, the second module is elements of religion, the third module is regarding persistent functions of religion, and the fourth module is of conclusion. Students, let us now start with introduction, which will give a brief overview of today's lecture. Introduction. At the simplest level, religion is the belief in the power of supernatural. These beliefs are present in all the societies and variations seem endless. A belief in the supernatural almost always incorporates the idea that supernatural forces have some influence or control upon the world. The first indication of a possible belief in the supernatural dates from about 60,000 years ago. Archaeological evidences reveal that Neanderthal man buried his dead with stone tools and jewelry. Religion is often defined as people's organized response to the supernatural, although several movements which deny or ignore supernatural concerns have belief and ritual systems which resemble those based on the supernatural. However, these theories about the origin of religion can only be based on speculation and debate. Though religion is a universal phenomenon, it is understood differently by different people. On religion, opinions differ from the great religious leader down to an ordinary man. There is no consensus about the nature of religion. Sociologists are yet to find a satisfactory explanation of religion. To answer the question, how did religion begin? Two main theories, animism and naturism, were advanced. The early sociologists adhering to evolutionary framework advocated that societies passed through different stages of development and from simplicity to complexity is the nature of social progress. Religion is a major concern of man. Religion is universal, permanent, pervasive and perennial interest of man. The institution of religion is universal. It is found in all the societies, past and present. Religious beliefs and practices are, however, far from being uniform. Religious dogmas have influenced and conditioned economic endeavors, political movements, property dealings, and educational tasks. The major religions in India are Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, Christianity, Islam, and Parsi. The basic ideas and faith of each religion differs, but they coexist in Indian society. Students, in this module, we have briefly defined religion and its significance. This is the end of our module. In the next module, we will have a detailed look into religion in India. Dear students, now we know what religion is and how important it is for a society. I'll proceed further in this lecture and we shall look now to some of the definitions for religion as given by some famous sociologists. Though religion is a universal phenomenon, it is understood differently by different people. Some of the key definitions of the religion are, as given by Joachim Wack, religion comprises of three things: a belief system, a ritual worship system, and a moral system of social relationships. This is a substantive definition of religion. Modern people think first of belief, but the social sciences argue that ritual and social relations are the central aspects of religion. The Latin roots of the term religion are religare, meaning to bind together, and religare, to execute painstakingly or to rehearse. According to Emily Durkheim, religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things which unite into one single moral community called a church, all those who adhere to them. This is a functional definition focused on the moral unification function of religion. Next is by Sigmund Freud. As given by him, religion is a collective neurosis. According to Karl Marx, religion is the opiate of the masses. The definition of religion given by Robert Bellah is that religion is a set of symbolic forms and acts which relate man to the ultimate conditions of his existence, that is, death, meaninglessness, egocentrism, and emotional needs, which are not rational. Emotional needs of individuals are the main focus of this individualistic functional definition. Clifford Geertz, a religion is a system of symbols which acts to establish powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods and motivations in members formulating conceptions of a general order of existence and clothing these conceptions with such an aura of factuality that the moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. This functional definition focuses on motivation and legitimation. According to Anthony Wallace, religion is a set of rituals rationalized by myth which mobilizes supernatural powers for the purpose of achieving or preventing transformations of a state in man and nature. This functional definition focuses on the use of religion to stabilize or change society and on the use of religion to magically control nature. According to Kurt Rani, a religion is a system of practices, symbols, and interactive and imaginary social relations concerned with establishing and maintaining a form of consciousness in which reality is constructed and perceived in relation to ideals. Now we will move on towards religious diversity in India. The preamble of the Constitution of India proclaims India to be a secular republic where citizens may freely worship and propagate any religion of their choice. The right to freedom of religion is also declared as a fundamental right by the Constitution of India. Indian religions have exerted significant influence all over the world. The major negative impact of religions are: first, groupism. Religion divides people. Such divisions may come in the way of development of the country. And second, frequent conflicts. People belonging to different religions feel that their religion is superior. They even try to impose their religious practices on others, which would lead to conflict situations. In India, communal conflict has become a common feature. The next is dogmatism. Every religion has a set of beliefs which may be superstitious quite often. Such ideas block the development of society and the progress of individuals. Example, in some communities, there is no improvement of the status of women on account of religious attitude. Next is block social change. It is highly challenging to transform the attitude. Unity and diversity of India is unique. It presents endless varieties of physical, social and cultural patterns. It is probably in India that one can find confessing all the major religions of the world. These are strong unifying which bind the nation as homogeneous socio-cultural entity. Our next section is dedicated to religious unity in India. Although the various groups in India present elements of external difference, it is not impossible to trace elements of external difference. It is not impossible to trace elements common to all. Each religious group exhibits one single feeling. Each accepts the truth of immortality of soul, temporary nature of the world, rebirth, the law of karma, manism, salvation, nirvana, contemplation, and all the other things that go to make up the religious paraphernalia. Each religion preaches fundamentally single religious faith and shares a belief in the purity and value of life, faith in an invincible power, benevolence, piety, honesty and liberty, and liberality with every form of religion in the country. Religious unity in India finds its expression through the place of worship is scattered all over the country. Such religious places of Hindus as Badrinarayan in the north, Dwarka in the west, and Rameshwaram in the south, and Puri in the east represent the religious unity of this vast country. It has been considered obligatory for every Indian to visit each of these holy places. But this pilgrimage comprehends the feeling of patriotism and a feeling for the unity his country also. The Hinduism being the major religion of people in India provides the basis of unity. People have worshipped God and goddesses in temples everywhere in India. The great epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are devotionally read by people throughout the country. The legends of Ram and Krishna are sung and repeated with equal fervor among people despite their differences in languages. Students, now we shall discuss about a very important topic on role of religion in social integration. M.N. Srinivas examines the role of the religion in social integration as a binding force amongst individuals and groups. He refers to 3 points: the relations between different castes and religious groups at the village and other local levels, the general role of religion in the economic development of the country, religion and socio-economic privileges. In cities, Hindus and Muslims have been greeting each other on their festive occasions. There is an association between religious communities and specific economic functions they perform. The spread of various communities all over the country and diversification of their economic activities have strengthened the process of social integration. Students, we have gained a significant amount of information about religion. Do you think religion has any significant influence in India? Our next section will discuss about this aspect only, that is, religious influence in India. The overwhelming impact of Hinduism on the Indian minds can be considered as the single most important unifying factor. India is a land of diverse religious faiths, but the influence of Hinduism easily transcends that of any other religion. It is mainly due to the all-comprehensive and all-embracing pervasiveness of Hinduism. Like Christianity in Europe, Hinduism in India has provided an attitude and a way of thinking which is shared and cherished even by the people of other religions. Religious concepts like monotheism, immortality of the soul, reincarnation, karma, nirvana, moksha, etc. inspire people all over the country. Religious rites and rituals have uniformity throughout the country. Sages and saints, religious preachers and the pilgrims have never differentiated between the north and the south. If Shankaracharya carried the message from south to the north, Buddhism and Jainism spread from the north to the south. Chaitanya, Kabir and Nanak formed the connecting link among various regions of the country. All religions have one common ideal worship of the Lord, and all of them proclaim that there is but one God. This one God accepts your devotion irrespective of the manner of your worship, whether it is according to this or that religion. So there is no need to abandon the religion of your birth and embrace another. One big difference between Hinduism and the other faiths is that it does not proclaim that it alone shows the path to liberation. Our Vedic religion alone has not practiced conversion, and the reason for it is that our forefathers were well aware that all religions are nothing but different paths to realize the one and only Paramatman. Our long history is sufficient proof of this. Our historians accept the fact of our religious tolerance that the beliefs and customs of the various religions are different cannot be a cause for complaint, nor is there any need to make all of them similar. The important thing is for the followers of the various faiths to live in harmony with one another. The goal must be unity, not uniformity. Various religious groups are found in India. The feelings of each religious group are the same. Each accepts the truth of immortality of soul, temporary nature of world, belief in rebirth, the doctrine of karma, salvation, contemplation, etc. The religious texts provide much satisfaction and solace to the people. Religious unity in India finds its expression through the places of worship scattered all over the country. The prayer intended is not merely to remind the mortal of the vast size of the country, but also of the religious and cultural unity that exists between Indians belonging to different parts. Dear students, in this module we have learned about religion in India, definitions of religions, religious diversity in India, religious unity in India, role of religion in social integration, religious influence in India. Now I will end this module and we shall meet again in our next module to discuss forms of elements of religion. Elements of religion as described by sociologists. The key elements are: first, soteriological, having to do with salvation. Post-archaic religions are schemes of salvation concerned with the source, nature, and appropriate methods of removal of some evil believed to afflict humans. Most religions are equally concerned with the achievement of blessedness, release, or fulfillment that transcends evil in either this world or the next, or possibly both. Salvation is one of the basic concerns of post-archaic religion. The next is theological, the rationalization of religion. Theology deals with the nature of supreme being or whatever functions in the religion as the source of supreme validity. Gods are objects of religious devotion and practice, and only secondarily are regarded as conceptions or hypothetical entities to be treated with speculative interest. To understand a particular religious outlook calls for knowledge and appreciation of the way its adherents relate belief and practice to supremely important beings. To deal properly with theology, one must look at the manner in which adherents understand their relation to the objects of devotion and at the systems of thought in which this relationship is expressed. The third is the anthropological, or the nature and possibilities of human being. This aspect of religion is intertwined with the soteriological aspect, since in many religious systems such as Christianity, Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, images of human nature define the problem of evil and the way adherents try to escape from evil. In Orthodox Christianity, sin is characteristic of human nature. This belief sets the stage for salvation by divine grace through God forgiving sin. In Buddhism, suffering is deeply embedded in the human psyche, and this belief sets the stage for salvation through intellectual growth. So, for each religion, the problem of evil, the conceptions of human nature, and the methods of salvation are interrelated. Fourth is epistemology. How do we know? Epistemology refers generally to the problem of knowledge. In a religious context, this means how adherents believe themselves be able to communicate with their deities and how the deities make known their will to humans. The problem of knowledge is related to the nature of truth as conceived by adherents. Religious knowledge must be reconciled with profane knowledge. This gives rise to a religious doctrine of truth that settles such conflicts by granting religious knowledge a superior epistemological status over profane knowledge. Religious knowledge comes to adherents through various combinations of revelation, prayer, vision, sacred literature, and communication with other adherents. Next, we have ethics, relation between humans. Religion defines appropriate forms of conduct between people. Ethics are institutionalized as informal norms or formal codes and laws. From the point of view of many social scientists, the ethical function is religion's most important contribution to society. The next is cult practices or the symbolic behavior. Religion confers meaning on acts. Ritual is the means by which religion is publicly embodied. Ritual involves social organization of the religious community, the functions of types of religious personnel set apart for various religious duties, the modes of behavior by which adherents approach to the sacred dimension, the devices used to guarantee proper group and individual conduct. Ritual acts are often themselves regarded as sacred, or at least as necessary steps to the goal of salvation. This leads to a consideration of the place of symbols in the religion, characteristic gestures, forms of speech and movement, the effects of religious belief on art and architecture, temporal, having to do with the meaning of time. Religious myths provide an imaginary time scale of important events, including the origins, repetitions, and endings of religiously significant eras. The end of time is an especially significant era for religions that possess a progressive history of religious meaning, such as Christianity. Other religions, such as Hinduism, see time as cyclical, a process of birth, growth, decay and death, beginning again with birth ad infinitum. At the level of the individual, the meaning of time relates to the birth, growth, decaying, death and possibilities of an afterlife for individuals. Next is cosmology, having to do with the meaning of the universe. Cosmology refers to theories and visions of the creation, nature, meaning and form of the universe and the place of humanity in it. A cosmos is a portrayal of the universe as a meaningful structure. Science studies a meaningless universe. Religion portrays our existence as unfolding within a meaningful universe called a cosmos. Cosmologies link human nature and the structure of society to an imaginary structure of the universe, in order to endow human existence and society with meaning. These were the key elements of religion as defined in sociology. Now we shall look into the categories of religious behavior. The first category of religious behavior is addressing the sacred. Next is music, poetry, physiological alteration through drugs, deprivation, self-mortification and isolation, exhortation, addressing others as a representative of a divine being, recitation of the code, that is, the use of sacred written and oral statements to state doctrine, sympathetic ritual, that is, imitation of sacred beings and events, wielding sacred power or man, touching objects containing sacred power, including laying on of hands, taboos, rules specifying avoidance of contact and action to prevent activating unwanted manifestations of sacred power, feasts, sacred meals, sacrifice, ritual killing often as part of a feast, congregation, meetings, processions and other forms of coming together, symbolism, using objects symbolizing the sacred, inspiration, the pursuit of visions and revelation, extension and modification of the code, extended consequences, the results of applying religious values outside of the context of specifically ritual occasions. You all have learned about key elements of religion as defined in sociology and categories of religious behavior. We shall meet again in the next module to discuss persistent functions of religion. Close the gap between hope and reality. Example, the final victory over death, evil, etc. is in heaven. Make virtue out of social necessity, encouraging and requiring the individual to sacrifice for others. Ego surrender, where the functioning of society conflicts with the functioning of the individual. Support and console individuals and groups. Enhance social stability through projecting sacredness upon social norms and through the creation of authoritative sources of opinion regarding moral matters, the priestly function of religion. Promote social change when religion is in conflict with the prevailing order of society through social criticism and prophecy. The prophetic function of religion. Provide a source of personal identity in pluralistic societies afflicted with anomie. Facilitate personal growth and maturation as they are conceptualized by the religion. Adjust individuals to the life cycle of changing social status. Rationalize social, political and economic inequality, reducing conflict in stratified societies. Like it said, there is always a flip side to a coin. It's time to look into the negative functions. Excessive guilt and repression, causing individuals to suffer emotionally for failure to live up to religious ideals. Authoritarianism, supporting oppressive authority in society. Self-mortification, inducing people to endure physical suffering unnecessarily or to cause themselves to suffer deliberately for religious reasons. Ethnocentrism, causing people to have narrow, culturally centered perceptions of other groups, arming them with absolute convictions that can justify repression and violence towards them. Promotes intergroup conflict by causing individuals to feel urgent about exporting their religion and to feel offended by the religions of other people. Rationalizes social, political and economic inequality, preventing social change necessary to reduce social conflict. Dear students, this module on persistent functions of religion ends here. I hope you all are familiar with the positive and negative functions of the religion. In our next module, we will conclude our chapter. Sociology of religion is the study of the beliefs, practices and organizational forms of religion using the tools and methods of the discipline of sociology. This objective investigation may include the use of both quantitative methods such as surveys, polls, demographic and census analysis, and qualitative approaches such as participant observation, interviewing and analysis of archival, historical and documentary materials. Sociologists of religion study every aspect of religion from what is believed to how persons act while in worship and while living out their stated convictions. They study the changing role of religion both in the public arena, political, economic and media, and in intimate interpersonal relationships. Global religious pluralism and conflict, the nature of religious cults and sects, the influence of religion on racial, gender and sexuality issues, and the effect of the media and modern culture has on religious practices are all topics of interest in current sociology of religion research. Historically, the study of religion was central to the discipline of sociology with early seminal figures such as Emily Durkheim and Max Weber writing extensively on the role and function of religion in human society. Social scientists who study religion today perform a vital function in helping journalists and the general public make sense of the rise of religious themes and influences in television, political conflicts, personal issues such as abortion and homosexuality, and in highly publicized cultic tragedies. The discipline of sociology of religion has much to teach about how religion functions for the individual and in society. Unfortunately, research done by sociologists of religion seldom filters out of the ivory towers to those in the trenches. With this, our module as well as this chapter on religion comes to an end. Do revise the modules again to have a better understanding. Do keep in mind what we discussed today. I'll be back with one more lecture in this series. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website www.cec.nic.in for MCQ, quizzes, LWARs, etc. Thank you for your time today. I'll see you in the next lecture. Keep learning, work hard and do revise the chapter. Goodbye.